Hello everyone, welcome to part 2 of 2013 UPSC Mains General Studies Paper 1 Questions Analysis. In this video, we'll be exploring from question number 16. If you haven't watched questions 1 to 15, please go back to part 1 and watch those and then come back to this video. So without any further delay, let's get into question number 16 itself. To read this question carefully, let us understand what they are asking for in the first place. Male membership needs to be encouraged in order to make women's organization free from gender bias. Comment. 200 words, 10 marks. What are the important points that they are asking here? They are talking about women's organizations in regards to particularly representation of males, meaning male members in a female organization. They are also talking about the concept of gender bias. They are also talking about attaining a sense or a form of equivalence, right? Equal representation in organizations. So these are the important points that you have to tackle in this question. Now moving on to question number 17, there is a little bit of an interesting connotation here. Why do I say that? Read the question carefully. Critically examine the effect of globalization on the aged population in India. So what are the key factors here? First, they are talking about aged population in our country. Aged population. 2, the impact or effect, not impact, to be very specific, effect of globalization on aged population. So these are the two key points here. What are the things that you need to explore in this answer? First, you need to talk about aged population in India. Second is what is globalization. The third is effect of globalization on the said aged population of our country. When you say they are asking for critically examining an issue or a situation or a condition, you have to examine both sides of the coin. Here, you have to examine the possible positive impacts of globalization, and not only that, the adverse impacts of globalization on our aged population. These are the areas that you have to cover in this question. Now moving on to question number 18. What is this? Growing feeling of regionalism is an important factor in generation of demand for a separate state. Discuss. 200 words, 10 marks. So what are the key points that you have to address in this thing? First, you need to talk about what is regionalism. What are the factors that attribute to regionalism? Second is why or how, or talk about demand for a separate state. There are multiple instances in our own country even to this day where we are talking about the need for separate state to represent the needs or to represent the status quo of certain sections of our population. So you talk about that. You also talk about the underlying conditions to which or for which the need for a separate state arises from. You need to talk about the core grassroots issues as to why people demand a separate state so that they can take care of themselves in a better way and they find the representation that they feel that they lack right now. Let me clarify. Currently, let us say there are 200 people in a building. The problem with that kind of the situation is 2 floors, each floor is occupied by 100 individuals. So what happens is the first floor 100 individuals might feel that they might not get what they deserve because they lack proper representation in the leadership. So the analogy is a little bit confusing, but nonetheless, first address what regionalism is. Second, address why or reasons as to why this regionalism develops, which leads to or factors that lead to the demand for a separate state, and finally conclude as to does that always is the case with the demand for a separate state. So that is how you kind of, I know it's a little bit confusing, but nonetheless these are the core points that you have to address when such kinds of questions are asked, because the keyword here is discuss. They want us to discuss all the 360-degree parameters in case of regionalism, in case for demand for a separate state. Now moving on to question number 19. So what is question number 19? Again, it is two parts. So first we'll discuss the A part, then we'll go to the B part. 19A. What do you understand by the theory of continental drift? Coming to geography here, discuss the prominent evidences in its support. 100 words, 5 marks. So 100 word limit, 5 marks. You don't need to spend much time here elaborating on what continental drift theory is, what are the evidences to support your answer. All you have to do is give a basic definition of continental drift theory and support your answer with a simple example. For example, let us say you find similar plants, animal fossils, share of right, you have this distribution of sediments from South, North America and Madagascar, India and all that, and that's it. You don't have to spend much time. Now coming to 19B. 19B is the recent cyclone on east coast of India was called Phelan. How are the tropical cyclones named across the world? Elaborate. Again, 100 marks, 100 words, 5 marks, not 100 marks. If 100 marks are given, it would be a beautiful day, but nonetheless, only 5 marks. So we have to give a little bit history as to how this trend of naming cyclones emerged. Not the historical perspective in the context of India, that is Southeast Asian subcontinent or the Southeast Asia particularly, because this is the only area where the region grouping kinds of names names those cyclones. We are not bothered about the North American thing or any other thing. We are particularly worried about our own section of the world. Not only that, and you have to also address as to the genesis of this naming of this cyclone, the parameters, how this is named, where was its genesis. From that point of view, you kind of address it. Then you give the sequence as to which country gets the gets to name the cyclone depending on the sequence they are in, and you conclude the answer. Apart from it, you don't spend much time in that regard. Now moving on to question number 20. Again, two parts, 100 words, 5 marks each. So in total 200 words, you are getting 10 marks for writing both. Now the question is, bring out the causes for the formation of heat islands in the urban habitat of the world. So remember, whenever you say that urban heat island or a heat island, you talk about warmer temperatures in urban areas compared to rural areas. What is the heat island effect? What are the factors that cause this phenomenon? What are the impact of this? And you give out the fallout of this heat island phenomenon and you conclude the answer. You don't go much into detail. Now moving on to part B. What do you understand by the phenomenon of temperature inversion in meteorology? How does it affect weather and habitats of the place? 100 words, 5 marks. First, you define what temperature inversion is. To those who don't know, temperature inversion is nothing but increasing temperature with height, and it kind of increases layer within which temperature increase occurs. So, if you are not aware, please go back to your climatology and start reading about temperature inversion, because it is a significant topic for future exams also. Then you explain why this kind of phenomenon happens. You give the scientific explanation, not in detail, but just enough to ensure or make sure that the examiner, the person who is correcting your mains paper, understand that you are aware of the concept as a whole, and then you conclude your answer. Now coming to question number 21, let's read this question with a bit of less urgency, because this question asks about different things. The question is, major hot deserts in northern hemisphere are located between 20 to 30 degrees north latitudes and on the western side of the continents. Why? So they are asking as to why this phenomenon, that desert phenomenon or that desertification, is being seen between, particularly in northern hemisphere, in the latitudes between 20 and 30, and that too on the western side of the continents itself, and not the northern side of the continents or in some other northern or southern latitudes. So you give this example. First, you have to understand the phenomenon of hard deserts. Then you say that what are the factors that results in desertification of an area or lack of rainfall. The primary reason is lack of rainfall. What are the factors on which rainfall are dependent? You go back to the concept of ocean currents, you go back to the concept of distance from ocean, rain shadow regions, low pressure areas, high pressure areas. You talk about all of this in a precise and a specific way, because these are the factors that result in desertification of an region or an area in specific. You give all these factors, stating that majority of the regions that lie between 20 and 30 degrees northern latitudes on the western side of certain continents are usually away from these impounding factors or impacting factors, or they are off the reach of these factors. That is why we are seeing desertification in those regions, particularly in high concentrations. That is how you conclude, and you give 2 or 3 examples as to what are the major deserts that lie between these northern latitudes and particularly in western hemispheres of a continent or western side of continents in northern hemisphere. The first one that you get is the Great Basin of the USA, right? You have Australian deserts, and you have Australian deserts and US Great Basin is caused by rain shadow region effect, and that is how you give your example to this and you conclude your answer. Now moving on to question number 22. Coming to question 22, part A, bring out the causes for more frequent occurrence of landslides in Himalayas than in the Western Ghats. See, this is a 2013 question paper. All the questions, if not majority of the questions in regards to the geography, kind of tend to have similar connections to the events that are taking place in the current time. So this is kind of an intriguing pattern that you see from UPSC, but nonetheless that is a discussion for another video. Today we are discussing the questions alone, or we are analyzing the questions alone. Now bring out the causes for more frequent occurrence of landslides in the Himalayas than in Western Ghats. Again 100 words, 5 marks. So basic answer, you are going to give what landslides are, why, what impact that landslides have. Now you come to the region. You give the geographical location of both Himalayas and Western Ghats. What are the factors that lead to a high occurrence or high number of landslides occurring in Himalayas in comparison to Western Ghats? To know that, you need to know the geography of both of these regions. First, Himalayan is unstable region. It is an younger region compared to Western Ghats, whereas Western Ghats are geologically known to be stable. That is why we don't see that much tectonic activity taking place in this part, and this is one possible reason, the main possible reason as to why we see more landslides occurring in Himalayas in comparison to Western Ghats. That is how you kind of answer this. You go a little bit technical, little bit detailed, but nonetheless you limit your answer to that point and you conclude the answer. Now coming to part B of the question 22, forgive me. There is no formation of deltas by rivers of the Western Ghats. Why? Again, geographical thing. You have to know the rivers that flow in Western Ghats, and you have to know the reason as to why there is no formation of deltas. Now, the reason, to be very simple, is they pass through these hard rock regions of the Western Ghats. That is why you don't see much of delta regions. And not only that, Western Ghats are known to have high angle of slope when compared to Eastern Ghats. As a result of this, there is the rate of flow of rivers is very high compared to that of the rivers that flow through Eastern Ghats. When the flow of rivers is high, the scope for ability to deposit silt or some sort of deposits on banks is very less, because they have high velocity, or the water has high momentum or velocity, and they tend to wash away any deposits that happen over a period of time. but you don't see that in the Eastern Ghats. But in Western Ghats, because of the slopes, the velocity of water is high. As a result of it, velocity is a wrong word, the flow of rivers is high. As a result of it, they don't tend to deposit silt or any other thing at the basins. That is why you move, that gets washed into the ocean. So that is the main reason. Then you conclude your answer. Now moving on to question number 23. Again 2 parts, 100 words, 5 marks each. 23A. Do you agree that there is a growing trend of opening new sugar mills in southern states of India? Discuss with justification. So in order to write this answer, what you have to have an awareness of is the sugar cane distribution in our country, or the crop distribution in our country. Then you go on as to where a large section of new sugar mills are being built or being operationalized, and then you tend to club both of these things. Where does the government or where does an individual set up a sugarcane factory? They tend to set up factories near to cultivation of sugarcane, high percentage of cultivation of sugarcane, because remember, once the crop is harvested, there is a limited time or limited amount of time that a farmer has to get his crop from the field to the factory to be processed, because if the time gets increased, the yield that is coming out of, or the amount of sugar that is being generated out of a cultivated crop or a ton of sugar cane gets reduced as the time between the harvest to being from harvesting to getting it to factory. If the time is huge, again the yield of the sugar yield of the crop goes down. That is a simple example that I can come up with. If wrong, please forgive me, but nonetheless this is the kind of understanding that you have to have, because the transportation is a significant point in this regard, and you have to link up both of these things, and you have to answer this question. Now coming back to 23B. Analyze the factors for the highly decentralized cotton textile industry in India. Now when they say analyze, you are going to not only explain what are the factors that are affecting this, you are also explaining the factors in a bit of depth. Now you kind of understand who is you have to bring out the point how or what is our overall output, cotton output, in comparison to the world. Then you have to look at where the industry of textiles are highly concentrated on. Particularly you go to the states of Maharashtra and Gujarat. Now we are seeing certain southern states taking up the mantle, but nonetheless the dominant players in this regards are Gujarat and Maharashtra, because you see high percentage of cotton cultivation taking place in these regions. As a result of it, you see that areas dominating the overall textile industry in our country. But as I said, over a period of time, southern states also have taken up that mantle, and you are seeing a slow shift of this happening in our country. But nonetheless, you give the crop pattern thing as an example, you give the textile industry as an example, then also you talk about the availability of labor, and you conclude the answer. Now coming to question number 24. With the growing scarcity of fossil fuels, the atomic energy is gaining more and more significance in India. Discuss the availability of raw materials required for generation of atomic energy in India and in the world. So 200 words, 10 marks. So what are the key words here? 1. Scarcity of fuels. 2nd, availability of raw material. 3rd, India's own nuclear energy program, that is atomic energy program. You talk about all of these points, and you tend to give a comparison as to how dependable are fossil fuels and how dependable are nuclear energy generation techniques or technologies. And not only that, you also have to consider the economic factors in terms of both of them. And not only this, but you also have to talk about the dependency of raw materials for energy generation. India doesn't have wells of oil. We are still oil dependent. That is why when you are oil dependent, when you are dependent on other countries for your energy needs or energy security, being self-reliant in areas such as atomic energy is always a positive step. From that point of view, you discuss this question and you conclude your answer. Now moving on to the final question, that is 25. It is said that India has substantial reserves of shale oil and gas which can feed the needs of the country for quarter century. However, tapping of the resources does not appear to be high on the agenda. Discuss critically and availability the availability and the issues involved. 200 words, 10 marks. So what are the important points that they are asking here? What are the key words, that key sentences or words that you are seeing in this question? 1. Shale oil and gas. 2. They are also talking about India having resources, India's reserves. What are the oil reserves? Shale oil, gas, oil and gas reserves of India. Not only that, they are also talking about the logistical factors that are involved, or what are they are asking more as to what they are asking. What are the logistical factors that are involved in tapping into, meaning mining, meaning drilling into this ocean floor, drilling into the rock bed and harvesting these kinds of natural resources and the difficulties involved in it. Then you talk about why India is not actively exploring our own reserves and why we are still dependent on other countries for natural gas and natural oil. From that perspective, you answer this question and you conclude this question. If you like the video, please like the video. If you want, please do share it with your friends and family so that they too can get prepare for the mains. I know most of you are preparing for mains. Please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Turn on the notifications so that whenever we upload a video or I upload a video, you don't miss it. In this series, we'll be covering questions analysis only. In the later series, we'll be covering solutions to these questions also. Thanks for watching. Hope you have learned something through these videos. Thank you.